Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. As you guys can see, we're in the shop today, and what we'll be working on today is actually the C7 seats for hopefully the last time. What we'll be doing today is doing some more modifications to these seats. You guys have known we've probably had these seats for just over a year. Wow, has it really been? Yeah, it's been that long. I've already ordered the harnesses for them, the adapter harnesses, so those should be here soon. So we should be able to put the seats in the car, but before we put the seats in the car, I want to do one more round of changes before we go ahead and get these seats in the Corvette, because it honestly doesn't make sense to put them in and then have to take them out to modify them and then to put them back in again. It kind of makes sense just to tear them apart and then put the seats back together and then put it back in the car. And so to kick off this project, we got a very large box delivered, and so let's go ahead and open that up. All right, so we got everything opened. Let's... All right, what do we got in here? Well, nothing too crazy. Just a set of C7 seat covers. So that's your bottom. This is probably going to be the other bottom. Oh, nope, this is actually the top. So as you can see, this is a competition seat cover, and you've got the little slots here for your harnesses. So a slot there, a slot here. That is going to be the passenger side, because the passenger side will have the belt buckle and all that assembly right here. And here's going to be the other one. So this will be the driver. Imagine this. Yep, here's your driver's side. And same thing, you've got your harness holes right here and right here, as well as the seat belt buckle part. You know, that's what slides in right there. So there's the driver's side, and here is going to be the bottom. So you guys might be wondering, why did you get a set of C7 competition seat covers? So what we're doing is actually taking the whole top of the seat off. So the seat back panel, the foam pad, as well as the seat cover, we'll be replacing that with the competition seat parts. All right, guys, we got some more parts in for the seat conversion, and you guys might know what this is, you might not know what this is, but this is a part of the competition seat. Let's go ahead and get this opened up. And what we have here is the seat back where your safety harnesses will go through in the car. So, and as you guys can see, this actually is carbon fiber. It is a carbon fiber weave. It's more of an overlay of carbon fiber over plastic, because you guys can see, you know, these tabs are it's just normal plastic. But I ended up going with the matte carbon because I kind of plan on getting some more carbon fiber parts for the interior, and I didn't want the shiny, so I ended up with this matte carbon finish. All right, so for this next part, we actually did have to go to GM for these parts, and so let's go ahead and get this all open. It smells like candy, kind of weird. So as you guys can see, we got the seat foam, so this will be the seat back where we put the, you know, the leather cover will go over this. That carbon fiber piece, if you guys can see, that'll snap in there, something like that. And so the second piece is going to be the same thing, so it's, you know, just that recycled foam. That's basically what this is. So we've got foam for both seats. Then the last piece, this is specific to the competition seat. What we have here is the seat back, and you guys can see that this is going to be painted in a gloss black. Now I'm actually not going to take this out because we're not going to do the seat conversion just yet, but I did want to show you guys that, you know, obviously you can see that's painted. This is the driver's side seat. You guys can see that, you know, that's where the seat belt mechanism, where that's going to go, so that'll go right there. So let's go over some total cost for the seat project, for the competition seat upgrade for the top. If you order it through GM, there's a very well-known dealership online. They sell this conversion kit between $900 and $1,000 per seat. I started pricing out all the seat pads, the foams, and everything to do the whole seat. And honestly, each cover was like $400. So essentially there's 4 covers. There's a bottom, there's a top, and there's 2 sets. So you're looking at almost $1,600 just for the seat cover itself. And then the pads aren't that bad. I believe they're about $60 for the top. Now the pads are a little weird. The pads, one side is $60, the other side is $460. Don't know why it's like that, but maybe it's just the way the pricing structure is. So I actually found a thread from 1.5 years ago over on Corvette forum. I was under the C7 section. I was typing in competition seat, and I found a guy selling all 4 covers for $500. So since the seat covers had been on the website for over a year, I believe it was probably like 18 months, something like that. I sent the guy an email because he had his email address listed. I sent him an email, said, hey, do you still happen to have those seat covers that you listed back in like end of 2019, early 2020? And the guy was like, yeah, I actually still have them. I was like, hey, will you take $400 for those? And he's like, sure. And I think it ended up being like $430 shipped because I paid for a little bit of shipping. And yeah, so I basically got each cover for roughly, say, $100. That's not too bad. And that's a lot cheaper than the $1,600 it was going to be. So I ended up going with the leather, because the perforated leather, because that's what I have. I actually have the perforated leather on the seat. Now for the rest of the parts, I had the carbon fiber pieces. You know, like I said, I got this brand new. Well, I actually bought those over on Corvette forum. I took 5 minutes out of my day. I looked on Corvette forum. I found 2 guys selling a set. One guy had them selling for $200 for the pair. Another guy had them for $260 for the pair. Those pieces are over $250 brand new from the dealership. I got both of them for $200. Saved a bunch of money there. You know, I already said we saved a bunch of money on the seat back. The only thing I had to order from GM was the seat back itself and the foam pads. The foam pads were only $60 a piece. Those aren't too bad, you know, so it's $120. And the seat back itself, I believe this was like $220. So we don't have a lot of money tied up into this project. And like I said, I'm going to have roughly $400 versus $1,000 just for the top. So for the seat project total, we're not going to include the adapter harnesses, because if you guys have a C7, you know, this will be a little bit different. I'm going to have roughly $800 a seat. So I'll have the competition seat top. I'll have the C7 bottom. I paid $400 for the seats. I paid roughly $400 for the seat top. So I'll have roughly $800 per competition seat. Retail on these seats, I've seen anywhere between $2,500 to $4,000 for these seats. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started on tearing down the seat. Basically, what we need to do is remove the outer cover, the back, the airbag cover, this clip right here, the seat belt guide, and then we basically have to flip the seat over and start at it from the bottom, because I believe there's a couple electrical connections we need to disconnect, as well as there's a piece of cloth underneath that we're going to have to pop off as well. So I've actually already taken the trim panel off. This just lifted off with a piece of plastic, and the airbag cover, simply just kind of start pulling on it and it will pop off. And there you go. So there's your airbag cover. All right, so the bolts holding in the seatbelt clip, these are T20s, and not very much torque, you know, they'll come right out. All right, so that should slide off. There you go. I kind of just pushed up and forward and this came off. There's a lip here, yeah. So there's a lip here, and there you go. Wow, that really didn't take that much effort. So we got this side off. All right, so we've made a little bit more progress. Basically, all you're going to be doing is trying to peel back this, I don't want to call it a seal, but this clip, this little piece of plastic, and what it does is it folds over and into this channel right here. So basically what we're trying to do is get this seat cover from out of that channel. All right, so as you can see, we got the rest of the seat cover off. Like I said, it's just that rubber piece of trim that's tucked in and behind this little loop. We got that off all the way. Now, I think we actually could remove the whole cushion. There you go. And just to prove that we do have air-conditioned seats, we got the air conditioning vent right here. There's your bladder. And yeah. Oh wow. I saw a thread about this, about loose seat bolts. There's one on mine too. So I don't really need to take it out right now, but I believe this is gonna be the same T20 Torx. This will be one there and one there. Kind of jumping ahead of myself, but make sure you save all your hardware. All right, so like I said, there is this piece of cloth that we're gonna need to get removed. And if you guys look, there's these little tabs that hold the cloth in. Oh, hey, just found some money. I just got a nickel back. And no, not the band. So get those clips undone, and this piece of cloth should lift. You're gonna need to disconnect two wires. I believe it's gonna be this one and this one. Yeah, that looks like what the pictures recommended. So get that disconnected, get that disconnected. All right, so I moved the seat around and I found out that this little connector with the red wire, that is the air conditioner line, and this one's gonna be your seat heater down below. And what we need to do is basically get those wires pushed through the bottom of the seat, back of the seat. You guys can see where my finger is. Go through the seat. There's another one of those pieces of rubber and nylon loop, if that makes sense. Basically, it goes around the corner and clips in. You guys can see those right here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We gotta get these disconnected right here, and that should get the cover and foam loose. There's also a metal retaining clip on top of those plastic clips. It's kind of crazy, but got to get those off as well. And basically we're just gonna use the screwdriver to pop both of those ends off. Should be able to remove, oh, or you just let gravity take care of it for you, and the seat back is fully taken off. And what we need to do now is actually get the seat back removed. I think we'll be able to do that by just taking off the retaining clips. So looks like there's 2 here, 2 there. Yeah, there's a few bolts. All right, so 2, 4, 6 bolts. So they're all around the perimeter. Then up top, there is a snap-on that you're going to use a pair of pliers to push that through as well. I also just found out one more thing. You actually need to take there's another 20mm Torx holding in the airbag. There are actually 2 more down here from what I briefly looked at. There's one right here behind the lumbar support, and there's another one on the other side right there. So we'll get those last 2 disconnected. All right, we got the inner part of the seat off. Now I'm just need to try to get the outer part off, and I think if we can get around the airbag, this should lift out. Oh, there you go. All right. Oh, there's one more piece of Velcro stuck on. All right. And there you go. That is us finished removing the seat back. All right, guys, we got some good news, we got some bad news. Let's go over the good news first. The vented seat, you know, the seat air conditioning, I mean, it's not really what it is. This is pretty much just a computer fan that they've put into a seat with a bag. That came off of the back of the GT seat without issue, and that will simply snap into here. There's three wires here. That'll snap in. I'm gonna have to use some 3M glue, upholstery glue, and we'll get that glued in right there. So that'll go on with no issue. So that's the good news. The bad news is actually has to do with the seat heater. So this is the seat heater off of the GT seats, and I removed it thinking that I'd be able just to swap it over, because this is exactly what I did on the C6 seats. They are a little bit different, you know, where the amount of ribs in it, if that's what you want to call it, you know, the pressed in line. The C6 seats were the same way. You were actually able to kind of squeeze them in and get everything lined up, and it worked just fine. But on the C7 seats, the problem where we're gonna run into is actually the second line, the second rib. There's no way you're gonna be able to get this pressed in and have the seat cover click into the 3 spots at the same spot. So we're gonna have to go ahead and order the seat heater element out of the competition seat. All right, so continuing on with the fan install, from what I read online, these simply just snap in. So you just gotta align the built-in brackets and push them in. So all right, we got all 3 snapped in. They didn't even make a noise. You simply just kind of have to push kind of hard. It'll click in. All 3 are clicked in, and we can lift it from the fan. We're good. What we're gonna do here is we're gonna spray some 3M, basically upholstery adhesive. We'll spray here. We'll spray the bag itself. And you guys can see we put just a little bit on the outside. I try not to get any on the mesh, you know, that the open part of the mesh. We also put a little bit on the seat back. And the trick is with this 3M stuff, you want it to let it dry. I forget for how long, maybe it's a minute, something like that. And then let them both sides get tacky and then press it together. All right, so it's been roughly 2 minutes. I let both sides dry, and now we are simply gonna press it on. And we're trying to get this to stick. All right, guys, I have spent at least the last hour fitting this cover to this foam pad. It simply just takes a long time, and there's really no good way to do it. You basically just start on one of the ends. You got to get all of those orange little clips I was telling you about. Get those into the seat ridges right here, and unfortunately, there's 4 of them. So there's three here, 3 here, I believe 2 and 2. So the top ones get a little bit easier, but you basically just gotta get them pressed in, and then you also want to keep the Velcro off of the. There's a piece of cloth here that it can stick to. You want to keep it off that, and there's on both sides. All right, so I actually had to take a break and figure some things out. If you guys can look over at the cover there, that is the outside of the seat, so that'd be the side next to the door. You guys see that big, almost rectangular opening? All right, that's the 2014 seat. And then the seat back that we ordered, you know, the painted is that black painted seat back that I thought I ordered for the same year or similar year. If you guys can look, the airbag opening is completely different. And so what that led to was a problem trying to get this seat back over the seat bracket for the 2014 airbag. You guys can see that it's kind of rectangular shaped-ish. Well, that's shaped like the shape over there on the OEM seat back. But this one is completely different. So I don't know if they changed the airbag bracket design mid-year or something like that, but obviously that bracket wasn't going to fit into this hole. I tried mocking it up. I took the bracket off. As you guys can see, it's off the seat. Tried putting it in there, tried holding it up. I couldn't get it in there in any direction. And if you guys can look, the reinforcement, you know, kind of where it looks like there might be a clip or a screw, it's actually on a different spot from that seat back over there. So something has changed, and I am not exactly sure what changed. So here's what we ended up doing. I ended up removing the bracket. To take that bracket off, we ended up using a T30 socket. There's 3 screws, you know, nothing too crazy there. We took that off. And then there was a second bracket up here that this actually came over, and as you guys can see, there's a fresh cut mark. So I ended up taking that bracket, took it over to the bandsaw, modified it. I cut the end off that was protruding, and we put this bracket back on. The reason I did that to this bracket was because there's a ground here, and I don't want to be losing a ground point, potentially messing up the electronics in the seat. You know, there's a reason there's a ground there. So like I said, I just chopped that off. The seat back should fit over this with no issue, because what happened was this was actually the bracket to reinforce the seat kind of on the other side of the airbag. So I don't know, something changed. This might be something you run into or you don't run into, but you know, it is what it is. All right, that little modification on that bracket worked out just fine. As you guys can see, the bracket is right back here. You guys can see it's kind of in, well, there you go. You can see the reflective edge of that. So the bracket is behind the seat. There's no issue there. I have put all the clips in, so the top and bottom clips are all in. Put one screw in right here, just one piece of hardware to hold it. And everything else looks to be pretty good on lining up. I might need to massage some of the, you know, just bend everything a little bit to get it into its final position. But for the most part, this seat back is on and good. All right, I finally got the seat back installed on the back of the seat. And I got all the hardware attached. So we got bolts here, bolts here, bolts here. So there are 6 bolts in there. And be careful, you are screwing into plastic. There's no need to over tighten it, just get it hand tight and you should be good to go. So we got the foam and the cover kind of started on the back. You guys will see that I ended up wrapping all of the edges of this painted surface in painter's tape. So basically, like I said, you know, we're folding this over and trying to get it wrapped around that edge. And when you get it wrapped around that edge, you're able to push this rubber piece that we talked about earlier in the video up and under and into this recessed piece. So we got to finish this on the bottom, do the bottom on this side too. So what I've been working on now is actually the kind of harness holes up top, and you guys can see I have the carbon fiber bezel, and I've been basically trying to make a path for the clips because there's, you know, I don't know, 10 clips on here that needs to snap in. I've basically been wrapping the leather in and around so that those clip holes are all exposed and this thing can push in there tight and should be good to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and push this in. Guys, remember, this is plastic. Yes, there is carbon fiber on it, but all these end pieces, all these clips, it is still plastic. So just be careful. There's no need to go super hardcore, super strong, you know, trying to push the stuff in. It should hopefully click in with relative ease. You really don't want to break that $200, $250 part. All right, guys, as you can see, we are fully finished with the seat conversion on the C7 seats. So we did the C7 competition seat, the cover, the foam, the back. Finally, we're done with one seat. We've honestly probably been out here for 3 or 4 hours, and this took quite a while. I will say this, I still think this was easier than the C6 seats just because everything was kind of designed to actually be torn apart and, you know, and for it to go back together. The C6 seats that I did probably dang near a decade ago, you know, they weren't really designed to be taken apart, but this, you know, this whole setup was pretty good. So I'm really glad that I decided to do this before we put it in the car, just so that it's a little easier and, you know, we're not gonna have to put it in the car, take it back out, put it in the car, take it back out, and go from there. So in the meantime, I will order the heating elements and we'll put those in at a future date. I'm honestly not too worried about it. I don't drive the Corvette in cold weather, so, you know, not that big of a deal. And as for the air conditioning, the vented part, I actually do have the pinout on how to make that functional, so we should be making that functional before we put the seat in. But today's video was strictly just about the competition seat rear upgrade, and hopefully this video helped you C7 guys and you C6 guys. And like I said earlier in the video, I have approximately $400 in this conversion. If you go through GM, you go through the dealership, and you're not quite thrifty, you know, kind of like I was by looking for parts, you're going to spend upwards between $900 to $1,000 for just the top on one of the seats. Like I said, I did it for $400. I can't complain about that. So if you guys enjoyed the video, give it a big thumbs up. If you guys want to see more Corvette content, hit that subscribe button, turn on your bell notifications. And if you guys want to help support the channel, like I said, I'll try to have links for some of the parts down below. And make sure you check out our website, BonecrrusherSS.com. Thanks, guys. Have a great one.